Dear students, we are starting today Unit 9, Investment, Freud, Folly, and Finance. It's a company. Emphasis and career skills. Well, it's titled as The Rewards of Risk. هي إيش ثمرة أو جوائز المخاطرة. The keynote start. It talks about most business ventures start as investment by entrepreneurs who hope to make financial gains. الانتربرنورز هم رواد الأعمال. Or returns on investment ROI. Money for a new business may come from banks or from venture capitalists اللي هو رؤوس الأموال أو مزودي رؤوس الأموال. And business angels. Business angels, people who also give entrepreneurial advice and they invest some of their money into a business that you don't have money to invest for. As businesses grow, they invest in their own project in order to increase profits and dividends for shareholders. Some businesses, such as insurance companies and investment banks, employ professional fund managers to oversee investment portfolios of different types of shares and bonds on the global stock markets as their main profit-making activity. Although all businesses aim to make a profit, some organizations think it is important only to make ethical investment, possibly with lower returns, in projects that, for example, do not hurt or harm the environment. يعني they rather not to harm the environment and don't make a lot of money or don't make too much profit. Their main concern is to save the planet or save the environment, protect the environment. In the preview هنا بيقول لك what should a business person be in order to be a successful investor? They want you to choose the 5 most important characteristics from the list. I need you to choose according to this question. Let's do this for homework. Choose the 5 most important characteristics of these characters that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12. We have 14. You need to choose the most important 5 of those that makes you a good business woman or good business person, a successful person, successful business in your environment, in this culture, not everywhere else. I need you to tell me why. Well, these are sayings for people as CEOs. Nick Leeson, Jesse Livermore, Warren Buffett, of course, Wall Street is the greatest investment ever in Wall Street. Of course, Paul Allen, we know who he is. He's a co-founder of Microsoft. He is Bill Gates' partner. First investment earned him $17 billion. Of course, let's go to the article from The Economist. Let's look at folly. It means foolishness, lack of good sense, myopia, short-sightedness. Short-sightedness means اللي هو قصر النظر. Boom years of economic prosperity. Okay. Human intuitions is a bad guide to handling risk. اللي هو الحدس الإنساني ليس بالدليل جيد أو دليل سيء بالنسبة للتعامل مع الأخطاء المخاطرة أو الأخطار اللي في البزنس. Let's start with paragraph 1. People make strange decisions about the future. The evidence is all around, from their investments in the stock markets to the way they run their businesses. In fact, people are consistently bad at dealing with uncertainty, underestimating returns from some investment and overestimating others. Surely there must be a better way than using intuition. بقول لك الناس لو يتابعوا الحدث تبعهم طبعا they get makes a lot of mistakes, emotion get involved عندما يتعاملوا مع اللي هي عدم الوضوح وعدم التأكد أو الغموض. underestimating returns, underestimating معناتها ايش؟ down الفاليو، يعني قلة تقدير أقل أو تقليل من تقدير القيمة. overestimating هو العكس تبعها. Daniel Kahneman, a professor at Princeton, was awarded a Nobel Prize in economics for his work in the field of behavioral finance, a science which applies psychological insights to economics. Today, he is in demand by investors and Wall Street traders, but he says there are plenty of others that still show little interest in understanding the roots of their poor decisions. What surveys have shown is that people's forecasts of future stock market movements are far from optimistic than past long-term returns would justify. The same goes for their hopes of ever-rising prices for their homes or doing well in games like the lottery or poker. They seem to ignore evidence and hard facts and prefer to trust their own or their inner instincts. Not only are first encounters decisive in judging the character of a new acquaintance, but also in negotiations over how much money to invest in new ventures. The asking price quoted by the seller in a property sale, for example, tends to become accepted by all parties as the price around which negotiations take place, whereas this figure could be at best simply inaccurate or at worst completely dishonest. However, people find it difficult to question their first impressions. يعني الناس بتاخد أول الانطباع الأول or they start from there, they stick to it. Similarly, no one likes to abandon the generally accepted idea that the earlier a decision has been taken, the harder it is to give up. However, companies really should decide earlier than later to cancel a failing research project to avoid wasting money. The problem is they often find it difficult to admit they have made a mistake. This human weakness can cost them a lot of money. Another problem is that people put a lot of emphasis on things they have seen and experienced themselves, which simply may not be the best guide. For example, somebody may buy an overvalued share because a relative of theirs has made thousands on it only to lose money. يعني ممكن شخص بتأثر previous experience. يعني شخص ممكن يشتري أسهم من اللي هي مقيمة زيادة عن قيمتها لأنه واحد قريبه أو صاحبه عمل فيها ربح من هذه نفس السهم هذا فلوس قبل هيك أو ربح الآلاف، فبروح هو بيشتري ويخسر his money أو بيخسر فلوسه. In finance, too much emphasis on information that is easily available helps to explain the so-called home bias, a tendency by most investors to invest only within the country they live in, even though they know that this is not responsible behavior and that diversification is good for their portfolio. ما احنا قلنا دائما التنوع diversification is very good for portfolio. Don't put your eggs, all your eggs in one basket, as they say, and the proverbs say. يعني it's called home bias. الإنسان بحن أو متعصب للكونتري اللي هو منها أو للبلد اللي هو منها، فبحب دائما invest. They have a tendency by most investors to invest only within the country they live in. يعني في ناس بيحبوا كتير بس يعمل investment في الدولة اللي هو منها، لأنه يقول لك أنا بعرفها أكتر، وهذه تعصب للهوم أو للكونتري اللي هو منها. It's not always good. Diversification is better on the long run. Fear of failure is another strong human characteristic, which may be why people are much more concerned about losses than about gains. It is this myopia in the face of losses. myopia قلنا هي قصر النظر, short-sighted, of losses that explains much of the irrationality people display in the stock market. irrationality معناها عدم العقلانية أو عدم التعقل, عكس rational, اللا عقلانية بنسميها. display in the stock market. More information is helpful in making any investment decisions, but, says Kahneman, people spend proportionally too much time on small decisions and not enough on big ones. They need to adjust the balance. يعني الناس أو الناس العاديين أو الناس حتى في الشركات بيقضوا وقت كبير على الحاجات الصغيرة والقرارات الصغيرة نفس الوقت اللي بيقضوه على القرارات الكبيرة. هذا خطأ. لازم have to be balanced. لازم يتعدل. They need to adjust the balance. During the boom years, some companies put as much effort into planning their Christmas party as into considering strategic mergers. يعني قضوا وقت أو جهد في تخطيط لحفلة كريسماس أو عيد الميلاد, أعياد الميلاد, نفس الوقت والجهد اللي بيحطوه مثلا لقرار يعني مصيري بالنسبة للشركة اللي هو الميرجرز أو الاندماج أو الدمج. Regretting past decisions is not just a waste of time. It is also often colors people's perception of the future. We're back to the past decisions. Some stock market investors trade far too frequently because they are running after the returns on shares they wish they had enough they have bought earlier. But at least when businesses try to assess their risks, they have to worry only about making money. Governments, on the other hand, face a whole range of conflicting political pressure. This, unfortunately, makes them even more likely than businesses to take irrational decisions. We're done with the article. Okay, it says read the text again. Let's go through that. Let's go through what kind of risk takers are you. I don't think you guys blue chips, bonds, junk. Let's forget about that. Let's go make match the words from the text with their meanings. Okay. Now returns, traders, diversification, portfolios, losses, and to assess. And we need to match from 1 to 6 to A to F. From 1 to the left to their matching on the right. You could see it, and it's all explanatory. You need to do vocabulary number 1 on page number 78. Prefixes, I think we went through those. Post, pre, multi. I think we know all that. By, enter, or under. Okay, complete the article about the investment with the appropriate form of words from vocabulary 1 and 2 also. Vocabulary 1 and 2, which is this. You could use one of those. Or the words up there. Overvalued, share because of relativity there has made thousands on it. It is difficult to emphasize the risk involved in buying fine arts as an investment, even if investors often claim that they are making greater returns and getting more pleasure. I guess. Please look at the answers for this. I mean, you don't need to give this to me. This is a practice, and you need to just do this for your own. You don't need to hand this in as a homework. You don't need this as a homework. There's not going to be any homework, but it's good for you to know the answers. Okay. Now let's go to the okay, this is a prioritizing status and society. Let's go to the dilemma and decision. Your money or your reputation. Two young Californian entrepreneurs, Stephen Evans, a successful businessman, and his younger brother Max, a recent MBA graduate, have just inherited the family fortune and have decided to invest in the manufacturing sector. They plan to supply the European and US screen print market with mass produced blank t shirts. The rivals include giants like Fruit of the Loom, which is a big company, but they feel confident that there is room for another competitor in this highly lucrative but risky sector. They both agree that their main goal is to establish a successful business as quickly as possible, then sell it and reinvest the profit in other ventures in order to build up a much larger fortune to leave to their own children. However, they have very different ideas on how best to achieve this goal. I want you to read their respective business plans. These are two different plans. For Steve, business plan right here, Hadi, and Max business plan. I want you to read both of these plans and give me a comparison. Give me which one do you support? Which one would you take if you were in their position? I mean, Steve and Max worth a big amount of money. Would we invest this in making T-shirts or whatever? One, Steve is trying factories to set up outsource to do the factories or المصانع برا في South Asia, Southeast في Asia, في آسيا, في Bangladesh or Max want to do it in the United States and California. Each one has advantages and disadvantages. So I need you to tell me a comparison between the two plans, which one you think is better and which one you think is not, the advantages and the disadvantages. Okay, this will be suitable for you guys to make a decision into this plan. Okay. And that will need the grammar. We said no. Forget the grammar. The biggest dilemma any company faces are losing its good name and damaging brand reputation. Nowadays, least pay close attention to anything that could have a negative impact on their brand. Of course, entrepreneurs or companies to lead to bad reputation in the media or bad sound in the media. Let's continue to, let's go back to exercise 1. This is our tenses, so we're not going to do tenses. And these are, I guess this will be our homework. That's enough for homework. This will be our lecture for the day. If you have any question, like we say, we'll meet on Zoom. But we have, remember, we have a quiz on Monday, next Monday at 10 o'clock. So keep up with the good work and have a good day. Like I said, if you have any question, you guys let me know.